the part where he said, "I have heard you, Nigerians." You know, Nigerians have been asking, what is happening? How can there be a protest, nationwide protest, and we have not heard anything from the president? Even when Nigerians were clamoring for the protest, and then we were counting down to the 1st of August, we still did not see the president come out to address the people. Although we heard comments where some stakeholders said statements like, "Oh, I was with the president and this is what the president said." So it was more like feedback from third party, not hearing from the president. But now finally the president has come to address Nigerians. Let's get your thoughts on the speech.
You see, first of all, different state governments across the nation appeal to our citizens not to protest.
Okay.
Now, we are a federated nation, a federated state, a country. If state governors are saying, don't protest, if there's no protest in Rivers State and the 36 states, the president do not need to say anything. Also, because indirectly...
Can you say that again?
What I'm trying to say is that you said the president did not address Nigerians up to the time of the protests, right? And you said that the different stakeholders have been speaking on behalf of the president, but whether on behalf of the president or not, they have been appealing that there should be no protest. Now, one, the president is also human. We may not know his health states. I'm not holding brief for him. But I think at this right frame, at this time he came up to speak, I want to believe that that's when he's able to speak.
I was saying we may not know his health state. I'm not understanding that part.
No, what?
It's more like you're saying what he was what he was elected to do, the responsibilities of the president. He couldn't carry it out at that time, and we don't know his health states.
No, you see, the president is not to address every day.
Okay.
I've mentioned
so you felt like there was no need for an address before the protest started.
If you know, he also needs to operate like a father and like a leader. The president's word is like a law. If the president has come out and says there should be no protests, mind you, the president is the commander-in-chief of all armed forces. In other words, the armed forces will go ahead to implement what the president has said. And the president, for me, like I commended him, has acted like a true democrat by allowing protesters to protest. Every one of us here have always said that protest is part of democracy. Now, for the president to come up on the 3rd day, right, or the 4th day of the protest and address Nigerians, if he had addressed them on earlier before the protest, or the protest is not hold again, people would have said the president have suppressed democracy.
So how effective do you think this address would have been before the protest commenced?
You see, if the address does not make sense to some Nigerians right now, it will not have also made sense to some Nigerians, even if he had done it before now.
So why is he then doing it now, knowing that it might not make sense to some Nigerians?
It is not everybody that the statement of Mr. President would make sense.
Exactly. It's still the same thing if it was done before the protest.
For me, I want to say that the president speaking as of the time he spoke does not warrant any reason for crisis, because we have all pleaded that let there be peace, let there be peaceful protests, and there was peaceful protest in some states and there was violence in some other states. So for the president to come up now and speak, even if it is on the last day of the protest, having allowed Nigerians, those who wants to protest, to exercise their democratic rights, and then now said, my children, my people, my sons and daughters, my brothers and sisters, I want to plead with you people that let this protest
now you
end.
need to clarify something so that you are not misquoted.
Okay.
You said earlier that from your explanation, or when the president spoke to the people is when the president could speak to the people, and you don't see anything wrong with that. So now I'm asking, are you trying to say so the president addressing the people before the protest was not needed?
You see, if a governor of a state addressed the people, he's addressing the people as a leader in Nigeria. If the Speaker of House of Representatives, neither the Senate President, neither a minister, neither any elite in Nigeria, an appeal that there should be no protest, I want to believe that we have respect for our opinions and our leaders. It mustn't be the president. What people were expecting from the president, I can tell you for free as Nigerians. That's why some are saying that the statement, the address of the president is empty. Because there are pertinent areas they were expecting that the Mr. President in his address will now say, petrol has gone to 400 naira.
I think anybody was expecting that statement.
You know, for me, the time the president spoke, it is when he was able to speak.
Now, you need to understand that. I don't know if you get this part of it, but the president is not there on his own.
Yes.
He is representing the people.
Very well.
He was put there by the people. So whatever he's doing there, he needs to have the people in mind.
Very well.
Protest. And I'm actually highlighting this because of what you said earlier.
Yeah, you know, the protesters State because there was no looting. There was no criminal activity in Rivers State protest. Likewise in Lagos State. So any area that we saw a kind of forceful resistance was because criminal activities was engulfed with it. So and I want to say, and I said it clearly, that those who protested and then in the name of protests, whether they were thugs or hoodlums or whatsoever, I condemned it.
And by forceful resistance, you mean?
You see,
they said the areas where we saw forceful resistance. Now I'm trying to get, because a lot happened.
Yes,
talking about the resistance, there was a lot that happened. So I'm trying to see which of the forceful resistance acts
in Kano State,
okay,
where the government house was looted, right? They are in Jigawa State. The property of a political party was raised down on fire, right? So if the police or the security operative do not intervene, it will degenerate. And these were the things that we are trying to guide. We said here that if we must protest, let us do it lawfully.
You think the protester did not want to do it lawfully? And aside that, you said these are the things that we are trying to prevent, right? Before the protests, there were talks about thugs being employed to disrupt the protest. So all of these things we saw during the protest, it wasn't new. Let me make my point. Yes. It was not new. This is something that we saw. So I'm going back to that, your statement where you said even if the president addressed the people before the protest, some people would not believe because he's not saying what they wanted to say, and it's the same thing. You feel that addressing the people after the protest and after all of these things have been carried out, hold on please, after all of these things have been done, is probably, according to you, in your own thoughts, the best option?
No. You see, I had even expected that the focus of this discussion is not when Mr. President
the focus of this discussion, hold on, the focus of the discussion is not on when the address came, right? But I am putting it there because of the statements that you made.
Yes.
Saying that when the address came, you brought that up here. Saying that when the address came was actually the best, that's what you think. And that's why I'm trying to help you or make you clarify that statement. Because look at all the things that happened after the protest began.
That's the point. If you also get me right, there was suspicion that the police was going to stop protesters. Is that correct? From protesting. We saw a different scenario where at various states that this protest was done peacefully. There was no police harassment. In Jos, also in the north, there was peaceful protest. There was no loss of life. There was no harassment by the police. The same thing here in Rivers State. So if you call those people, if those people who went to government houses to loot and to begin to burn down properties, it is condemnable, my dear sister.
Of course it is
condemnable. Yes, so let us agree first that it is condemnable. You cannot, in the name of protest, begin to destroy properties.
You know that is not the focus, right?
No. So my point here is that Mr. President have come up to address Nigerians. We will look at the content of the discussion. But for me, the best thing is that at least he has come out to address Nigerians.
Talking about the content of the discussion, we have it now. President Bola Tinubu on Sunday listed some of the policies and programs his government has embarked on to alleviate Nigerians' suffering. And in his broadcast to address Nigerians who have been protesting for 3 days in a row over the high cost of living and who are calling for an end bad governance, Mr. Tinubu also listed the achievements of his government in the last year, amongst which he said, We have also embarked on major infrastructure projects across the country, and we are working to complete inherited projects critical to our economic prosperity, including roads, bridges, railways, power, and oil and gas development. Notably, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and Sokoto-Badagry Highway project will open up 16 connecting states, creating thousands of jobs and boosting economic output through trade, tourism, and cultural integration. He urged protesters to suspend the protests and embrace dialogue. However, he ruled out the possibility of returning the petrol subsidy completely, a major policy that increased the cost of living in the country. Now, we have also embarked on major infrastructure projects across the country. We are working to complete, back to the inherited projects and yes, all of that. The projects now to open, road projects to open up 16 states. This is a statement by the president telling us some of the steps that his administration are taking towards giving us a better Nigeria. Let's get your thoughts on this one. Well,
my thoughts, first of all, let me also condole with the families of the bereaved during the protest. Even if your brother was right or wrong, somebody's been affected. So I want to commend and condole with the Nigerians that have lost their beloved ones. It's quite a sad situation.
Yes.
Again, on the issue of the president's speech in terms of road infrastructure, right?
Yes.
I think it is commendable. But my focus have always been, which is the cause of this protest agitation, which is the hardship. Nigerians are not complaining that we have bad roads. What Nigerians are complaining is that we cannot feed. We are talking about the welfare right now. It's not about infrastructure. When you go to some of the local government in Rivers State, for instance, and some other states I've visited, you see gigantic projects that government have built for one purposes or the other. Sometimes what goes on in my mind, could it just be political patronage? Or just a way of justifying the expenditures of our revenue? Because I do not understand where magnificent projects will be cited in the local government and grasses have suddenly taken over. So if you know that those projects weren't going to be life impacting, why didn't you just even share the money to the community people? Use this money and help your life, start up a small scale.
You see this project as life impacting, like in your words.
Which one is that? The road project?
Yes.
No, I can't say that road project is not good. Everything has its own time. You can't be building house for a sick person, whereas you are not contributing to the treatment of that sick person. It's not morally okay.
All right.
So we are not saying that roads infrastructure is not a need, it's not wonderful to Nigerians. But what Nigerians are complaining right now is the means of livelihood. We have to be alive before we use the road that our president is building for us now. Abi? We have to be healthy before we can access these good roads. They are wonderful things. But these are not the causes of the protest. These are not the causes why Nigerians are agitating. So I would like to commend Mr. President for this wonderful continuity of road infrastructure. It's a wonderful one. It has to. These are basic responsibilities of government.
True.
But what Nigerians are clamoring for is that your responsibility that has to do with welfare, economic survival. If Nigerians can have food on their tables, nobody will complain. Okay, right now, Mr. President, I've said, on the issue of removal of fuel subsidy is a no-go area. So
what do you think about that one?
No, if you ask me, when Mr. President came and removed fuel subsidy, we all hailed him that it was a decision that was timely. I equally knew that when President Jonathan was head of government, president of Nigeria, he also made move to remove subsidy And Nigerians protested against it. I remember I was a member of the Presidential Subsidy Committee in Rivers State own. And then we had to organize a town hall meeting to address, Rivers people, why, if there should be subsidy or not. Part of the resolution in that town hall meeting was that fuel subsidy should remain.
Well, you continue with that thought, but in this next story. So let's get there, since we're already talking about the subsidy and fuel. Well, President Bola Tinubu has said the compressed natural gas initiative that will power transportation economy will save Nigeria over 2 trillion naira being used to import premium motor spirit, that's PMS, and automotive gas oil, that's AGO, into Nigeria. So we're talking about petrol and gas. He disclosed this, that it will free up Tinubu said this during a broadcast that was widely televised on Sunday. Let's see the paragraph before this, please. He disclosed this, that it will free up resources for more investment in healthcare and education. All right, these were the statements of the president. Fellow Nigerians, we are a country blessed with both oil and gas resources, but we met a country that had been dependent solely on oil-based petrol, neglecting its gas resources to power the economy. We were also using our hard-earned foreign exchange to pay for and subsidize its use. To address this, we immediately launched our compressed natural gas initiative to power our transportation economy and bring costs down. This will save over 2 trillion naira a month being used to import PMS and AGO and free up our resources for more investment in healthcare and education. The president noted that to this end, we will be distributing 1 million kits to extremely low or no cost to commercial vehicles that transport people and goods and who currently consume 80% of the imported PMS and AGO. So we have started the distribution of conversion kits and setting up of conversion centers across the country in conjunction with the private sector. We believe that this CNG initiative will reduce transportation costs by approximately 60% and would help to curb inflation.
You see, the president is a businessman, and what we have always advocated was for diversification of our economy.
Yes. And
for the president to encourage the diversification of our economy.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. Like I always say, talking about petroleum look very outdated because we are in an era of renewable energy. Petrol is outdated thing. So no wonder that our economy looks as if it's grounded. So I think, Mr. President, the words you have spoken should be matched with actions. We are not saying that your policies are not wonderful. We are not saying that your innovations are not good enough. But we are saying, can Nigerians survive to see this vision come to life and begin to enjoy it? There is hunger in the land. He has given us instances how he's going to push money into all of these new innovations, right? It means that we actually have money. If my father is building a story building and cannot provide food for me, I would think my father has a child somewhere else that wants him to be alive to inherit that blessings building. My father cannot be starving me. I have no food to eat. I cannot get the basic amenities of life. And then my father is busy building an estate somewhere in the name of innovation.
But you know that we have said, a lot of Nigerians have said this, that the removal of fuel subsidy, which affected fuel price, is one of has explained the removal of subsidy to us, even though he said reversal, not it's a no-go area for now.